Good one to have you on the show. 360 Sports on Trust TV. Adeni Ajishafe. Some handball there. As we start with stories turning the world of handball, well, the league is ongoing, and we look at the result of games being played just yesterday. Well, Adova Handball Premier League 2023 to Jamarine Academy faltered on day 7. Well, right now, teams are playing on this particular competition. Let's look at the result for both men and women. Let's start with the men result, where Correction Boys did well, but they lost out against Confluence Stars by 5 points extra. Confluence Stars winning 28 against 23 scored by Correction Boys. For Bende Dynamos, it ended 30 against the 7-point score by Kano Pillars. Kano Pillars was able to win that game in that particular encounter against Bende Dynamos in the Andover Handball Premier League 2023 Day 7 men's result. To Jamarine Academy, they lost out just by a point against Riemann Strikers, 23-24 in that particular game there. Now, let's look at the women's result, as also played yesterday. Plateau Peacocks against Riemann Queens. They lost, rather, they won 20-14, 6 extra points for Plateau Peacocks, while Bayelsa Queens lost out against Seasider Babes, 30-35. Safety Babes were safe enough as they were able to win against Imo Grasshoppers, 31 against 24 points scored by Imo Grasshoppers, while Benue Queens fought hard, but they scored 19, where Defender Babes, civil defense team, they won that game largely at 34 points ahead of Benue Queens, who actually scored 19. For Bende Dynamos, the dynamic power was not good as they lost out against the Delta Queens by extra 2 points. That Delta Queens winning that game by 2 points, 30-28. Well, the Adova Handball League is long going across Nigeria, and really a big one for all the teams participating in this particular competition. There, just to let you have a feel of what happened in that game, or rather in those games. That's why we give you that particular clip. They are a good one for our handballers, for what they are doing, playing handball across Nigeria, and that's it. At least we always want to showcase what other sportsmen are doing, not only football, on the show. Right now, we've been joined from Lagos by Feranmi, Omoniyi, who will be joining us to talk sport this hour. Good to have you, Feranmi.
Thank you very much for having me around, Ajishafe. I'm so glad to join again this morning. Good morning.
Good one. Yeah, let's start with the story we'll be looking at after that particular game between Nigeria and Zimbabwe. Coach of Zimbabwe, Brito Bederman, says we should have keyed off the game against Nigeria. Zimbabwe coach, that's the story we're looking at first. Now, looking at the fact that Zimbabwe coach Peterman is having that confidence to say they should have killed the game after they play a 1-1 draw against Nigeria. Well, let's look at that story together, Feranmi.
Let's start with, I told yesterday when I was on air, I actually spoke about it. And one thing that really bothered me was the fact that we played that kind of game against Zimbabwe. However, it's football, and results like that are bound to happen. We've seen top teams losing to a very smaller side country or even club. So it's something that's it's bound to happen. But however, it's just the fact that what this kind of game can actually cost Nigeria. We lost at the last year's World Cup, and this time we can't even afford to miss the World Cup again. So I think that's another thing that many fans were actually praying against, or they had actually caused them, because getting a draw is not really a bad thing though, but the fact that this kind of competition, you can't afford to even stay in the second place right now, because you don't know the kind of country you'll be playing against when it comes to the playoffs. So to avoid that story that touches the heart, or what I ordered and what I got, many were like, okay, we just need to get ourselves prepared, because we don't know what will happen next year. Maybe our top player next year might go 6-month injury, So this is another thing. At the same time too, we should also look at the fact that we have players that are injured. You look at the importance of Wilfred Ndidi in that squad, and now that he's not even playing, you can see our midfield is actually lagging behind. If you look at how we've not been able to connect passes from the midfield to the attack, you see Iwobi and the rest not in their best performance, and you see Ademola Lookman too. A couple of chances that we actually missed. And when people talk about the fact that, okay, we have top players playing in Europe and they're doing so well, I used to tell them that you can't compare the tactical ability of some of the clubs in Europe to Nigeria. Some of these guys, they play together, they play week in, week out, they train together for a couple of days before they go on the pitch to play. So compared to international assignments where you don't even know what the ability of your teammates, of your country mates. So there are a lot of things that come to play in some of these things. If you look at the Nigerian squad, I think you find a particular maybe 2 or 3 players that play the same thing. Okay, we talk of which one did and get here. But you look at other things, you see some of them. Even look at starting from our goalkeeper that they have not been in action for a couple of months. So this is another thing again that I felt it's something. But the goal was the meaning. It shouldn't have been. That goal shouldn't have really. Yes, for me that goal was so demeaning. Francis Uzo needs to do better. He needs to improve. I think we've given him enough of. I think is he holidays or you've given him a lot of ability to just do whatever he can do. But right now, I think he needs to stand up. He needs to man up because being a goalkeeper, you're not just a goalkeeper. A goalkeeper is a leader of the team. So because you control a lot of things, you control how goals come in. So I think right now, Wilfred Didi needs to walk into this thing and he needs to. I'm sorry, Francis Uzo. Needs to walk into these things and make so many changes.
Well, looking at the fact that the coach of Zimbabwe believing that they should have even defeated Nigeria, that's a big one there, really. Eagles need to up their games right now. A lot of Nigerians are not happy with the performance of Eagles against Lesotho and also Zimbabwe. Well, it was against Lesotho. We're still licking our wounds, and then they play 1-0 draw against Zimbabwe. We've been talking with that with Omoniyi Feranmi joining us from Lagos there. Now, still talking about that particular match. After that match, a lot of Nigerians were not too happy. They called for Peseiro's sack. Let's look at that. We cannot sack Jose Peseiro because we are owing him. We're looking at that particular one there. We cannot sack Jose Peseiro because we are owing him. NFF board member is saying that. From the way it is, according to him, he said the Ministry of Sport Development, they are the one that actually employed Jose Peseiro. And aside that, they need to pay his money if they are to sack him. And right now, that money is not available from the way it is. What can you say about this particular topic? We cannot sack Jose Peseiro because we are owing him. Feranmi.
This thing about owing coaches, Super Eagles coaches or national team coaches, is becoming incessant. It's becoming something that is predominant in our Nigerian football setting. I don't know if it's common like that in other sports, but for Nigerian football, it's so common that any coach that wants to take Super Eagles job is coming to do pro bono, free job, because you know that they might not pay you. And now because of that, we cannot demand for excellent results. I think I don't know, I'm trying to look for the better word to qualify this or to express my reaction or my opinion. It's so lackadaisical. For me, it's so lackadaisical and it looks unhealthy because if you want to assign a coach, I believe that by now, okay, let's say you give a coach a contract of 2 years. And for me, I felt that means the amount for that 2 years must have been kept somewhere, maybe in the bank, maybe it has been fixed. So you know that, okay, these 2 years, I want good results. Then if this guy does not provide these good results for me within those 2 years, we terminate your contract, we pay certain amounts you are meant to pay, including damages, and you go. But now that we are now at the mercy of a coach, then suddenly we don't even have an excuse. We don't have an excuse that, okay, Coach Jose Peseiro, you're not doing well, because you'll be like, I'm working on empty stomach. And we know when someone is working on empty stomach, you know what it happens. It means that either it does it well or not. Like when you have a volunteer doing something for you for free, then if it's not available today, it's not available. If it's available today, fine, it's good. So that's the same way I'm seeing Jose Peseiro right now. It's as if the guy is doing free job. Although I've heard stories or rumors that he's set to leave for Pyramid in Egypt, but I don't know if that is true yet because it could be rumor. Anyway. But one thing again that it's common. You see the way they treated Genatro in the past. Jose Peseiro now, we don't know who next is actually going to fall in the past. So I think the NFF, they need to work on something. If they are not capable of getting a coach, maybe a foreign coach or anybody, then we should know that we don't have a coach for the Super Eagles. Then maybe a random person, maybe the players will be the one taking care of themselves and everything. Because what's the essence of having a coach and you say you cannot pay? That means you can't even question his character. You can't talk about, you can't actually question in the, okay, coach, why is this result? You see two poor results in our last two games, and nobody came out. We don't even, the technical director of the team did not even come around that, okay, this is it. We need to look at this. We need to look at that. So I think it's so sad, and I don't even know what to say. It's becoming so common in the Nigerian football setting now.
Someone actually believed that for Peseiro, even though we are owing him, agreed. But apart from the fact that we are owing him, he's not really giving us what we want. And the Nigerians are looking at, is it that, must it be a white man that can coach Eagles? Because from the way it is right now, it's not going well with our team. Something must be done, or else 2026 World Cup is at bay right now, because we just have to get it right. And now, as a Nigerian, a lot of Nigerians are saying, okay, if they should sack Peseiro now, who would they be employing as a Nigerian? You, as a sport journalist, is there anyone in your mind?
This discussion, myself and my friends, we were discussing about this yesterday, and we started ruling out names. And somebody said, okay, we should bring Omoniyi, and I said, okay, I think now it has become a national cake. We need to pass it around. Since Olise had done his, Siasa had done his, okay, let's give it to Omoniyi because he's the one left. Then after Omoniyi, maybe we'll pass it to Finidi George. Then we'll just keep passing. But one thing again, I felt that if we want to be like a world-class country, we want to join them, we should look at how they behave. We should look at how they treat their sport. How do they manage? How do they handle management? Okay, look at the chance of France. If you look at it, okay, this man has been there for over 5 years. He was there when he won the World Cup. He led them to the final of the World Cup, the recent one. It shows the level. It shows that, okay, these people have a project. They have a long-term goal. They have something they are working endlessly towards to achieve. But it shows that in Nigeria, they are saying, let's do it again. But it shows that it is only the fans that wants to do it. NFF themselves did not want to do anything. That's the way it is. Because we need to set a plan. Do you think we're going to bring a foreign coach, a world-class coach to the Super Eagles, and you're going to tell him that you're not going to pay him for 2-3 months? And he's not going to pack his loads and leave. So that's another thing again that I felt that we are not really doing enough, and it's so painful. There's no coach we're going to bring to the Super Eagles right now. If we don't provide the necessary or the adequate things in it or resources in it, it's going to flop. Even if you bring Pep Guardiola to the Super Eagles, and necessary things are not being done, you are actually trying to tell him, okay, this is the type of players you need to bring to the camp. Okay, you can't bend this kind of players. Your salaries will be delayed for 2-3 months. No one does that. I think it's just the way that he said, if you want to be like the rich, you need to work with them. I think the Super Eagles or the NFF, they need to look at how other federations, top countries are doing it, and we should adopt it. If we are not going to learn everything outrightly from them, we should pick one or two things that is valuable and manage it. And now, even when it comes to even making money, even when it comes to spending money, sometimes we don't need to break the bank to have a quality coach. Yes, we don't need to break the bank. We just need to know our level. We set a standard for ourselves. We know what we want and how we want to do it. Yes, I don't think Nigeria should be competing with countries like France, Spain that want to win the World Cup. We want to go and participate at the World Cup. Yes, we want to make an impression. Good. But in the AFCON, okay, can we make a difference? Yes. So that is how we set standards. And I think we've made a lot of things so cumbersome for us that we don't even know where we are or where we are coming from and to where we are going. So it's really affecting the way we move in this country. It's really affecting us a lot. There was a time I was talking to a particular person about a particular club. And I told the guy, I said, this club does not have any business in the MPFL. It's just waste of money, waste of time, waste of resources. Why don't you invest yourself, do a lot of developmental projects, get young guys, make money, sell these players, and keep your pace in the NNL. There's no need, it's not anything. That does not mean that you're not going to make impact. What matters after all is that what you're able to make impact to the society. So I think that's what the Super Eagles or the NFF should look into. what are the things we need to make impact? Okay, in the next 50 years, in the next 10 years. I remember Muti Adepoju saying about the La Liga project, about the Spanish Federation project, and how they look into their project that, okay, in the next 10, 15 years, we want to win the World Cup. They eventually did in 2010. And that's the way a federation that has foresight behaves. You look at it, okay, this is what we want to do in the next 10, 15, 20 years. And we are going to look into it, and we're going to turn our energy into it, and we win it. That's all.
Well, from the way it is right now, a lot of Nigerians are really still very angry concerning Eagles' performance. Now, that question popped up. Let's look at this. Should Nigerians, now that NFF say they can't pay because there's no money, should Nigerians contribute to pay off Peseiro, Feranmi, because it's becoming a big deal now? Because Nigerians are not happy that he's still the coach. A lot of Nigerians are saying, well, he doesn't have the wherewithal to be our coach. He should go. But according to NFF, no money. So should we contribute money to get him off? Some people are saying they should open GoFundMe. Do you agree with that? Let's look at that topic together. Should Nigerians contribute money to pay off Peseiro? Let's look at that.
For me, I think even the Super Eagles coach, it's the Super Eagles job. I think this is the best. I think so far in the records of or in the credentials of Peseiro, I think this is the best. This is his best result so far. Because we look at his antecedents, where he had managed and everything. But now to look at it, okay, we should do GoFundMe and everything. That does not solve the problem we have in Nigeria. If you send Peseiro away and you bring Pep Guardiola, and we do not fix the root of that problem, it's still going to be there. And what's the root of this problem? We lack management skill. That's basic. And it's everywhere in Nigeria, in the ministries in this country and every sector. We lack basic management skill. We don't know what we want. We are indecisive. That's one of the crazy things we are facing in this country. So when we don't know what we want, then we cannot even set our energy to get the right coach that can take us to that certain place. So that's another thing again that I see that is the problem. Don't forget the time that we lost, I think, was it to Guinea-Bissau or we dropped, and people were like, okay, why did we play like that? I said, no, that's not it. The issue that we need to fix some things. There are some players in the Super Eagles that should not even play in the Super Eagles again. Should not even play at all in the Super Eagles. But, it is what it is. Okay, I was telling somebody that Peseiro has been doing a lot of experiments. He has been experimenting a lot of things. He brought in new players. Last time he brought in Jordan. He didn't call him around again. He brought in Nathan again. We don't know, maybe by next year, or he won't even make the AFCON team. So it's as if he's just bringing new players to experiment or to even test. He's made up first 11. Who starts Nathan in an away game? You played in the home game. You should have started this guy. So this is another thing again that I think we just lack a lot of things, a lot of basics. If you contribute money today and you bring Pep Guardiola, I think that same thing is still going to happen again. So the NFF does not have money. We look at our pulse. We look at what we should turn our energy to. Okay, what can we do? And for me, I felt that we should still give Peseiro time. Yes, we should still give him time. So I felt it's just the fact that because of the fact that South Africa had won their first game and they're going to play today against Rwanda. So that pressure is there for Nigeria that, okay, Nigeria needs to get on top. But at the same time, I think you should still give this man a time. I think he's still going to breed well. He's still going to build well. At one point, people said Genetro was not playing beautiful football, that they want a coach that can play beautiful football. They brought Austin Eguafo step in and he was telling us about Pep Guardiola. That, do you know Pep Guardiola? Do you know this? And we got to the AFCON. Unfortunately for us, we lost to Tunisia. We played the World Cup qualifier against Ghana. Unfortunately for us, we couldn't make it to the World Cup. So there's no we just need to take time. We just need to take time to develop ourselves. That's all.
No, from what you are saying right now, contributing the money wouldn't solve the problem, because even if we should let Peseiro leave now, another coach coming, we still not get it right because we still be owing them. Something must be done, according to Feranmi, who has been talking with us on the show, 360 Sport. Well, for Super Eagles, something must be done, really. Each department right now, they have some blame to actually take. Both the players, the technical department, the NFF, everyone just have one blame or the other. Something must be done concerning our football, especially Super Eagles. Something is wrong somewhere, and we need to get it right. We have to go to the Mundial in 2026. From the way it is, Eagles needs to get up and step up their style of play, making sure they silence all the teams that are in their group if they are to make it to the next Mundial, because that won't be nice at all. Now, let's talk about another player. That's Frank Oyenka say, well, for 2023 AFCON, Nigeria will be the team to beat there, according to that particular topic we are looking at right now. To him, he believes that Eagles can win this Nations Cup that will be coming up in Cote d'Ivoire in 2024, January, February. Do you agree with that, Feranmi?
Yeah, if you look at our squad depth, if you look at what we have right now, I don't think there's any African country that stands close to Nigeria. If you look at the kind of squad we have, if you look at the individual performances of our players, not the collective one as a team, but we look at individually, this player, these are choice players. So, for example, let me say excluding Francis Uzo. So, for example, let's start with the defenders. You have the likes of Semi Ajayi, you have the likes of Calvin Bassey. These guys are players that if they don't make the first 11, they can actually start from the bench. So they're players that any coach would like to put them on. Now, okay, those guys, they're capable of doing it. You have Bruno Emachi. You have so you have quality players. You see what Seydou Sanusi is doing with his team. See what Olino is doing with Nottingham Forest. So Wilfred Ndidi for Leicester. So if you look at if you see collectively, if you look at our players individually and what they've done so far this season, you say that, okay, this is the all-star team of Africa. You just need to add one or two things, one or two touches to that. And that's the all-star team. Now to look at the up front, you look at Victor Osimhen, you look at Taiwo Awoniyi, you look at Victor Boniface. Who doesn't want to have those three kind of strikers in their team? you know, even you would just have to fight up tooth and nail to have those kind of players. But unfortunately, we have them, and we are yet to. Maybe we are not utilizing them well. Maybe they are not gelling well. But that's a loss for us right now. So if you look at that kind of squad, I must tell you that at AFCON, is there any African country that can stand Nigeria? Obviously, country like South Africa and Republic might even still defeat Nigeria at the AFCON. So to tell you how funny football might be sometimes. So for me, I wouldn't say that Nigeria does not have the ability to perform well or to even win the AFCON. I can tell you vividly, we have all it takes to win the AFCON. Because if you look at the squad that won the AFCON in 2013 for Stephen Keshi, if you look at that team and this present team, I can tell you that this team right now has a lot of options. Peseiro has a lot of options that you can utilize in that team.
Well,
okay, for example, Sunday Oba
because
in 2013,
let's look at the last story before we wrap it up. Let's talk about, because Eagles' case is becoming worrisome. Let's don't leave Super Eagles, and that's outside Nigeria. Let's talk about Benjamin Mendy. Benjamin Mendy launches a multi-million-pound claim. Yes, a claim for unpaid wages against Manchester City after that particular incident of where he was accused wrongly of rape, and now the man is free and he's playing with Lorient FC. But right now he has launched that multi-million-pound claim because he was unpaid for nearly 2 years. Feranmi, that's the last topic we're looking at. Quickly.
Yeah, it's firstly, I'm so grateful that Mendy got vindicated. He's free. I think that's enough. That's big already. But for the wages, at one point we heard that Man City terminated his contract as a result of the court case he had then with the UK government. But we didn't know, nobody knew how far, because Bendy wasn't available to talk if he was paid during those times that he wasn't playing or he was going through trials. But right now, I think it's a smart move. If he had spoken with his lawyer and they've actually looked into the nitty-gritty of the contract he signed with Man City, I think it's a smart move. It means he's actually fighting for his right, because right now, I can tell you, the young man needs to save a lot, because the profile really dropped because of that trial, and he might not even be earning as much as what he was earning before in Man City. So, but I just hope that his lawyers have checked all these things and they they are good to go, because those kind of cases, most times, so far it has been charged, there's limit to what we can actually discuss about it. We were not part of the team when they signed the contract. We didn't know how they terminated the contract or the nitty-gritty about the contract, but only Mendy and Manchester City, they are the ones that actually shed a lot of light to that, to the detail of that story.
Thank you so much, Feranmi Omoniyi. Join us from Lagos. We appreciate your time with us on Trust TV.
Yeah, so it's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Okay, good one there for a player that moves to Manchester City, worth about £52 million right now, playing in Lorient. That's a big one concerning his career. For Benjamin Mendy, hopefully, let's see what happens concerning that particular player. That will be it on 360 Sport on Trust TV. Adeniyi Ajisafe. Thanks for watching.